our brothers, so that the only place that they really get a sense of what they want to do with a woman is slam, bam, and thank you, ma'am. There's no respect for that act. Therefore, why are you surprised that you're getting diseases? Why are we surprised? I just got something over the internet the other day that the great majority of people that have AIDS today are black women. But there's a growing population of college black students going back to condoms being given out in colleges. The black males in college, but wouldn't you want to kill them? If you knew that these black men were getting education in order to take your job, you'd kill them too, if you were surviving. Come on, I'm not surprised at this. This is why we got to talk to our young people about this act, because it's all around. My daughter, 15 years old, she could list me these songs. I'm telling you, she got a whole list of songs. And she enthusiastically was writing these songs down. And then my son, he's 9 years old. He said, but you forgot Genuine. I'm telling you. But don't be surprised. Look at the size of the buses. Go past the newsstand. Come on, look at the magazines, Black Tail. Look at what's happening. The TV commercial. Look at the videos. Now, we're in competition. It's not that they're going to stop the act. It's that they must become educated in the act. And brothers have to understand that the longer you stay in, the more your battery will be charged. Change your focus of thought and understand what that act is all about. The only way not to get AIDS is through abstinence. That's the only safe sex we got out here right now. Abstinence, not engaging. Because first of all, any condom that could stop that from getting in is also stopping your penis from breathing. And if it's not breathing, you're suffocating it. And if you're suffocating it, you're doing damage to it. Come on, let's make it plain, because we're adults here. And I've been wanting to talk about this because I'm with our children every day. They know. The children in the junior high school where I have my center, they know. In the school I used to be, they say, stay off exit 10. Because that's the exit I walk up and down. They say, don't even go near exit 10. Because Brother Coleman is there. And Brother Coleman will embarrass you, because my first question is, are you willing to get AIDS? Look, let's talk about this. Young girls. I passed a young girl I shouldn't say the other day, but last year. She told another mate of hers, a brother, she said, suck my dick. And I looked at her, I said, that's biologically impossible. But they're using this terminology. They're saying these things to each other. Abi Odun came and he said, you know, when you all say that to each other, don't you understand that a mouth is not the cleanest place? Are you willing to place your most sacred instrument into a dirty place? He said, would you put it in the garbage can if someone told you to? Well, you don't know where somebody's mouth has been. Would you do this? We hear this young people talking. I know Sonnet and everybody else on 125th Street. You hear a whole bunch of things. And it all relates back to sex. Whether it be kiss my, suck my, eat my. They even say yourself. Don't we hear this? So we hear this. And what I'm saying is that as an adult, we have got to start to come together and we have to talk about real issues. Another thing that we have to talk about, and then we're going to move on to the math and science. Another thing that's going to be very important towards our future is the discussion of homosexual and lesbian activity. We got to come together and talk about this. I'm not talking about taking sides, right or wrong, good or bad. I'm talking about we got to talk about this. Because the first thing that Robert Mugabe and the other Zimbabweans did was that they forbid it. They said, this wasn't here when you came, and it's not going to be here once you leave. We're not taking sides here because I see a whole bunch of young folk in our community. I saw a young man down on 8th Street and Broadway the other day. There was two of them standing on the corner. Had breast implants. Okay, and I wouldn't have known it because it was a pretty girl. And I was with my son. And all of a sudden something happened. You know, somebody says something. And he said, shut up, bitch. And I said, I'm sorry, I don't mean to make fun of this. But my son, 9 years old, he said, Daddy, that's a man. But what are we going to do about this? We cannot put it underneath a rug. That's part of it. But my brothers and sisters, I say this, I don't mean to be funny, but sometimes in order to make things easier to accept, we laugh, and I understand this. But this is an issue we have to talk about to our community. We have to, and we cannot threaten the community who lives the alternative lifestyle. They can't come and believe we're going to attack them. These are our children. We don't know. We could have members of our own family whom we love dearly, who live an alternative lifestyle and are afraid to tell us because of the nature of how they think we will treat them. Now, we've got to come together. We've got to talk about, if we're going to create a nation, we've got to talk about these kind of issues.
And we have to understand that this is an attack. This is not an accident that you see this going up and down.
That's right. But Brother Sanetta, when we do approach this, although we may have our view towards this, we have to approach it to make them comfortable, otherwise they will not talk. And they will not let out the deeper feelings. Remember, we have generations of young men who have never... When I walk with my son from when he was born, he knew what a man's holding hand felt like. Many of our young men walk the earth every day of their life and never know what it is to hold a man's hand. They're only holding mommy's hand, auntie hand, grandma's hand. The houses that they grow up in are all female. They never get a sense of what a man's presence is. So the balance isn't there. And it happens the other way too. There are some families where the women are abused by the man, and the woman says, I ain't never going to let a man treat me like this. So therefore she goes to the other woman for the sense of warmth and security and love. See, this is all what we have to talk about in a way as a nation, as a community. Not to take sides, not to say what's right, not to say what's wrong, but to talk about it and begin to come forward with this, because sex is a very important process in life. And really what homosexual, lesbian, and other lifestyles are leaning towards is they're looking for their counterpart. They're looking for that person that completes them. Whether or not they will take the route that most people take, or whether they take an alternative route, is something that comes out in the play of words. But I'm telling you something. I've spoken to many scholars since I've been allowed to be able to present this way. Brothers and sisters, you'd be surprised who's gay and lesbian, who have stood before you, who are gay and lesbian, but they will not bring it out because they're afraid of how the community will react to them. Will they stop hiring me? Will they stop bringing me forward? Will the information that I've given them that have liberated them, will that be meaningless compared to their fear of me because of my alternative lifestyle? If we're going to build a nation, brothers and sisters, we've got to come together. We've got to start talking about sex with the heterosexual aspect, the homosexual aspect, and every other aspect, no matter how uncomfortable it may make us feel. Because in the African tradition, homosexuality is not part of life. It's not. Now, you may have exceptions to all rules because, the Creator creates the A and the B. And between A and B is A, B, and BA. It's there. But there was always a social setting that placed them within that concept that allowed them to live a life as a human being. Please, brother.
They had a documentary on TV about 2 weeks ago on Channel 13 where they were like trying to inject the fact that homosexuality is something that might have been around the universe for centuries because they were showing those acts among various types of animals, like octopuses, horses, lions, birds. And I was like, my spin on it was, well, maybe it's some type of gay scientist trying to put a spin on the fact that homosexuality is like the behavior is done in